La Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. This is the one where I saw Mexican Gothic online and the girls are like, don't read Mexican Gothic, read La Hacienda. And I'm like, oh, note taken. So that's exactly what I did. Overall impression, I surprisingly liked this book. It's not my typical genre. I typically stay away from religious themes, but I read a lot of good reviews about this. It's that time of year. I read this around Halloween time. Actually, on Dia de los Muertos, they're what I read in the book, Dia de los Muertos kind of celebration. Learning Spanish, this is set in 1820s Mexico. I love historical fiction. Bit of a risk on it, but I surprisingly liked it. Plot summary. Beatriz is a young woman living with her mother at some relatives' homes. After her father was taken away and executed, their family is unwelcoming to them, to say the least, which motivates Beatriz to accept a marriage proposal by the handsome and wealthy Rodolfo. His family makes pulque. Pulque? So they were able to remain wealthy during the war, which devastated the surrounding population. Her mother stays behind with the unwelcoming family because Rodolfo was on the opposite side of her husband during the war, but Beatriz plans to convince her mother to live with her eventually. Upon arrival at San Isidro, her new home, there are immediately some concerns. Her sister-in-law, Juana, seems to have contention with Rodolfo and now with Beatriz herself. Some of the caretakers live in the house itself, including the ama de llaves, and Beatriz soon learns that Andres is a young priest haunted by his past in San Isidro, where his grandmother, his titi, worked and raised him. The story is told from the perspectives of Andres and Beatriz. Themes of family, grieving and lost destiny, the place of a woman in that era, war and its aftermath, caste and class differences, witchcraft, lots, ghosts, power struggles, vengeance. There is a love story, which is subtle, probably realistic for that era. Positives in this book. Witchcraft is typically not something I like to read about. But the witch in this book is not who you expect it to be, and it made the story super interesting. I love the themes of family, the history, the setting, the overall vibe. I enjoyed most of it, especially for this time of year, October, November. I like how the romance in the book played out. There is a clear beginning, middle, end. Toward the middle, I'm like, things get really mixed up and haunted, super haunted, okay? And then I'm like, what about this? What about this? But everything kind of circles back around. All of the questions are answered. Let's see, fun setting. I looked up Apan, Mexico, and it is beautiful. And if you want to go to mayhemmillie.wordpress.com, and I put a link to the notes that I took on this book, and I looked up the area and put pictures in my notes if you want to look. I don't know if it's the vibe the author wants, but I took notes on the book. I looked up the area. It's gorgeous. Also, she puts references to the books that she studied for history. So I'm imagining a lot of the setting that she talks about is accurate. I learned lots of vocab and grammar. The action scenes were interesting and well written, good dialogue. Negatives, I didn't like the religious elements so much, but I knew what the book was about going in. I would have liked more character depth on Juana and maybe even Rodolfo. Lots of witchcraft and some gory elements. Not many gory elements, but a little bit. Some major bodily harm. It's not necessarily a negative because that is part of the story and it's that time of year. It's just not typically my thing. I would recommend this book, especially for the time of year, late October, especially around Halloween, Dia de los Muertos, especially if you like novela gótica, novela negra. I would probably read another book by this author for sure. She's Isabel Cañas. She is an American-Mexican author, I think. I'm learning Spanish, and so I'm trying to kind of stay away from European Spanish, but a lot of the books that I see that I'm interested in are written in European Spanish. La Hacienda by Isabel Cañas.